Hey everyone, today we have Anton from Wavo.co. Basically, what we're gonna cover is we'll be discussing how Anton went from not really being able to explain his product or not being super confident about niching down to then after he niched down and really improved his messaging, he was able to increase by 40% his MRR within the first 30 days, and he even increased like his signups by about 3 times over the course of 3 months. And we get a little more detailed in terms of how we got there, just with the tweaks that we worked on. So I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. So I guess it's just better if Anton, you just introduce yourself and introduce a little bit more about your business, and we'll
Sure.
take it from there.
Yeah, sure. So my name's Anton. I run a business called Wavo.co. We originally actually started off as a cold email agency, and then we built our own cold email tool, which is really if you're an agency that does cold email, it's the best tool for you. I think at the time when Pedro and I like first met, I was really stuck because we thought like we should go broad with the way we were selling our tools. So we were like trying to compete with all the other cold email tools out there, like you name them. And after we got engaged with Pedro, not only learning better about how to actually position the product, we decided to really niche down and focus on our strengths, which is the agency side. And because we built our tool for agencies and it has features and things that the other cold email tools cannot compete with.
Yep.
So by doing that, and then in combination with implementing the framework for the landing page, and speaking directly to that market, and really addressing their pain points, and not just talking about the features, but like what are the benefits of our
Yeah.
features to the pain points that they're experiencing. And so we followed your framework, or followed Pedro's framework, got the new landing page written up, focused that right down on that niche. I think historically it was, so timing wise, it was like, we put the page live like in December or something, like it was like late December. And then I think by the end of January, I think we'd seen like a 30 or 40% growth. And then by I think February or March, it was pretty well tripled, which is like I think our MR had tripled by that time,
Yeah.
because it just everything resonated, and it was like a total 180 switch. It was pretty amazing. Although hopefully it doesn't sound like I'm overselling it
Yeah.
by saying
I
that.
mean, let's just say it was like a good Christmas gift after implemented that.
Mhm.
Um,
Oh yeah,
so can
for
you tell
sure.
me a little bit more about the problems that you experienced when you had like your own agency? Just because I found like the clients that get the best results usually, or the clients that really get the best results, is because they experienced the problems before, so they know the niche super well, and then we can really
Hmm.
take advantage of those experiences to really know exactly how we can target them, because they were the target, right, a couple of years ago, right? So can you tell me
Yeah,
a little bit more about what kind of issues you experienced, what made you create this tool?
sure, sure. Well, I mean, so specifically for us, so we built the tool in the very early days to differentiate ourselves from all the other agencies, right? So being able to, because trying to sell cold email, it's very like conceptual in a way. So I wanted something tangible that we could show our clients, like on a demo call. Like you could show
Yep.
them this product and say, this is what we're going to run for you, and this is how we're going to generate leads for you. So that was one big part of it. The other problem that we were solving is the problem of reporting, and many cold agencies that do cold email for clients, they actually report on spreadsheets, which it kind of looks like super wishy-washy. You're like paying this
Yeah.
agency whatever, possibly thousands of dollars, and you get a report back on a spreadsheet, and it's like, what's actually happening behind the scenes? So those are kind of the two biggest pain points that we were solving with the tool. And then, I mean, there's a lot of just like workflow efficiency related kind of problems that we solved with having our own tool. And so now, we decided, or my personal aspiration was always to have a SaaS business. And so we pivoted and kind of wound down the agency and sort of wound up with selling our tool to other agencies and kind of creating a community where we support them and help them grow their businesses, which has actually been a lot of fun to work with some of these guys over the last year and a half or so, and help them grow and kind of in whatever way we can help them you know get that stuff done.
Yeah, I mean, awesome, because that's like a specific niche, so they probably don't see like a lot of support there, right? Because they don't
Hmm.
really see tools that are made for them. So
Exactly.
why haven't you used, like, why did you create your own tool? What was like wrong with the other tools? Let's say Mailchimp or other CRMs or other tools that specifically for cold email that you weren't happy with. You
Yeah.
couldn't use it for your agency.
Well, I mean, so like at a high level, yes, they will work, but there's just a lot of gaps around. I guess the easiest way to define it is that like a lot of those tools are built uh, with the product spec designed around the use of a salesperson, whereas our product spec is designed through the through the viewpoint of an agency. So there's a lot of small nuanced features, and just even around like having multiple contacts in the same campaign for the same client and how you manage different clients campaigns. Like if you're doing that on Mailshake, you'd need different accounts for each client. So we just streamline the workflows of the needs of an agency, whereas most other tools are built for salespeople.
Okay. Do you actually need to pay for like for different accounts with other tools?
Some of our yeah, some of our agencies that have moved over to us, like they would have, you know, a I'm not pick a tool, but they would have an account for one client, then they'd have another account for another client. They'd have to constantly be logging in and out of different accounts for each client. So that's just one of the small problems that we're solving.
Yeah, I can see how messy that can get, like really really fast, and that's not
Yeah,
like a
for
really good
sure.
way to run their business.
Yeah,
Yeah, so let's go a little like back to the beginning, right?
sure.
Can you tell us like a little bit more about what you're doing like before you started working with me?
What was I doing? I think I was pretty lost. Like I just had no. I mean, because I guess the first time you do anything, right? It's like, and as like a solo founder that's doing most of the work,
Yeah,
as you're bootstrapping, you're kind of just figuring things out. And so the first time you do anything, usually it sucks. Like I don't think anyone does something for the first time, like paints a picture or writes a book or a blog post or whatever. Well, your first one's gonna suck. So I did I think first one or two iterations of the landing page or the homepage. Had no idea what I was doing, or just not. I'm not a very like marketing for me is a weak point, to be honest.
yeah,
And so that's what sort of naturally started leading towards, hey, I need some help with this, and I think that's how we ended up getting connected. I forgot how I found you. Probably searching for like SaaS landing page framework or guidance or something like that.
yeah. I
Kind of
mean, I don't remember, but I do rank for those terms, and I also we also connected on LinkedIn, so probably either one of
mm-hmm.
those. Um,
Yeah,
either way, like through content. But
yeah.
what kind of problems were you facing at the time that made you like get a little stuck in how you wanted to like sell your product?
I think the biggest one was how to explain the value. So rather than have like a list of features, um, like I think the first iteration of the landing page, like it didn't even really say what the tool did. Like it was like pretty bizarre actually.
Yeah,
It was like um, I can't remember enough of it to explain it, but yeah, it was like I think what it was is I tried to address like the benefits and then went straight into like just a list of features, like it does this, it does this, it does this, rather than after us doing some work together and me learning how to implement your framework, I was able to actually say, well, rather than just talk about this feature, let's address the issue that, like the pain point that that feature solves,
Yeah.
and like address that directly. And I've actually had a lot of awesome feedback. I don't know if I shared this with you, but like I've had demo calls with agencies that are like, man, this, you get me. Like this speaks to me directly. Like when I read this web page now, like I'm getting feedback that they just, it nails it, like in terms of their pain points and what they're experiencing. So it's pretty cool, and it's an amazing to feel that shift, right, from having not like kind of the business is like a boat without a rudder, just kind of like
Yeah.
aimless, and then kind of having, dialing it in, getting the messaging nice, and you know having it really resonate with people. Like the quality of the calls change, the quality of the demos change, like the people that sign up for trials changes. I think the conversion rate on trials has gone up too, because it's just more signal and less noise. So yeah, it's been pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's super powerful when we get people to go to your website and say, "Okay, this is exactly what I need," and that's like the power of like niching
Hmm.
down, because we basically just put your tool saying, "Okay, this is the only tool that is built for your like a lead generation agency." So where else can you find this?
Yeah.
Like that's how we kind of position it. So what were people saying before on the demos that made you realize that their quality of the leads weren't like as good? What kind of objection or question were you getting on those demos like previously?
Well, actually, it's funny. I actually remember exactly like my aha moment where we're trying to compete with all these other cold email tools,
Yeah.
and I was on a demo with somebody, and they're like, and their lens that they're looking at this is like they were a salesperson, right? And so they're like, okay, this is cool. I like your tool, but they said to me, what makes it different than cold email tool X, Y, or Z? And like I didn't say it, but I was thinking to myself like, the ways in which it's different, you don't care about. The ways in which it's different are very valuable to an agency, but like it doesn't matter to you at all. So obviously I didn't bother saying that to the guy. But I thought to my, like after that call, I was like, man, I'm just beating against like it's a terrible expression, but like beating a dead horse, like
Yeah.
so so like I should just focus on agencies, because that's where the other tools out there, uh, I like, it's almost like I'm not even competing, because it's just the tool's just so good for agencies that it's a no-brainer, right? So that was kind of how the pivot, not really pivot, but just niching down, kind of, that was the trigger that caused that to happen.
Awesome. I mean, what's really good about it is we kind of don't have to change the product. Is we kind of just change the
Yeah,
messaging and the positioning. We didn't have to do that much work. Um,
totally.
but one thing that I noticed is I remember that when you came to me, you did have like a more generic type of page where that's probably how you attracted that guy. That where your tool was kind of positioned as like a normal cold outreach tool, and that's probably how you attracted that guy that couldn't really see the difference. And that's I'm pretty
Hmm.
sure that's how you found me, anyways. And I did say, okay, it's kind of hard for you to compete if we don't, double down on your USP. So
Hmm.
was that like before when you got that aha moment, was that before or after um, after I told you to double down on those agencies? Because sometimes
I'm
I tell you, and then after you see it like in live is when it hits you, right?
Yeah, it took me a while to digest that, right? Because you told me that, and I'm like, yeah, okay, Pedro, what do you know? Like I had to like discover it for myself, and then once I had that moment, like I said, that aha moment, I'm like, okay, yeah, Pedro's right. I've got to do this. So I was, yeah, so naturally led that way. But I was stubborn in the beginning, and kind of took me a while to come to terms with that.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of natural because it's your baby. Just your product's always your baby.
Yeah. Well, I've actually spoken to a lot of entrepreneurs that a lot of them have a hard time niching down, because it's like it's a big commitment, like you feel like you're kind of closing yourself off. Um, so it's a big scary thing for a lot of entrepreneurs, and a lot of the kind of masterminds and things that I'm part of. But anyway, Sorry, it's
Yeah.
just my
I mean, sometimes it's
sense.
not even like exactly niching down. It's just doubling down on the customer that is easiest to acquire, right? And that ends up
Totally,
being like
totally.
beneficial. So going back to that situation, is what kind of frustrations did you have like at a time? What kind of things have you tried, and what kind of things were you frustrated about when like it didn't work or you expected to work or something?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I mean, I think the biggest frustration was just not like not knowing how to how to sell the our tool. Like I just didn't know. Like I was just didn't know how to explain it and explain it on a web page so that it made sense to people. I think that was just the biggest frustration, and it's partially like that learning curve, right? Like the sort of first time you're doing anything, you're learning, and it's pretty hard. So um, yeah, I think that was the biggest frustration at the time.
And you're probably like very comfortable selling a service, right? Because you probably had like several agencies or something. What do you think is like
Uh,
different, like between selling a service or a product? That's probably like the issue that got you a little stuck.
Probably, yeah. I think, but I think there's a lot of layers there. Like I think there might have been, some level of entrepreneur mindset issues, right? Like fear of failure or fear of rejection or something like that as well that I had to
Yeah.
kind of work through at that time. Um, but yeah, sorry, I just kind of lost where we're at. What was the?
Yeah, is really just coming back to um, that time where you kind of you're trying to sell your product for the same time for the first
Oh,
time, right? So
right,
and
right,
you
right,
probably
right.
were used to selling services. So what overwhelmed
Yeah,
you between selling the like you're used to selling services, now you're selling your product? Like what was like scary about it or overwhelming or frustrating?
yeah. So that's I think so for me personally at that time was it was like being too close to the problem. So like I didn't know I actually have a background in sales, and so like for me to sell something is actually quite easy. But for this particular time, it was like I didn't know how to position the product how to differentiate it from other products, like and it was sort of a learning curve of how to get that done. So that that was kind of the issue, and I feel like I was just too close to the problem all the time. So I think working with you and using your framework actually helped me get some perspective, actually, like kind of to be able to solve the problem.
Awesome. I mean, I think that sounds really good. I didn't know you had like a background in sales, but that does help
Yeah.
for the demos. So uh, I mean, when did you? We talked about that late in like a few minutes ago. But when did you first like hear about me, or what made you like book the call or take interest?
um, you know what? I actually remember. So I think version one of our landing page. I think I had Googled SaaS landing page template or something like that. And
Okay.
I used whatever free content you had online to like help me do that. I still sucked at it. And I was afraid to like get into your sales funnel because I didn't want to be sold. So I didn't leave any information. Like I didn't do any, like I just used whatever was on like public on the webpage.
Okay.
Um, and then I think I just like that was probably around like February or something. And then I think 6 months later, I was like, I need help. I give up. Like I found you again, and then I think we connected on LinkedIn, and then things started to move from there. So uh, yeah, that was kind of the history there.
Yeah. I didn't know that. I suspect some people do the same because I do get people
Yeah.
like trying it and all that stuff because I do see it. Sometimes like there was a time that I've seen a guy using like I spotted like a random page using my formula, and then I actually reached out and they were using the formula, but they never told me. So it's
No
like
way.
pretty interesting.
That's funny.
Um, how like um, and what made you book the call? Like that initial call because you were like skeptical over like the last few months before that.
Yeah, I think it's just like being totally stuck. I was just like, okay, like I I can't do this on my own. It's just going to take me too long to figure it out. And I thought, let's try to get some help in terms of getting this done, because I need to get unstuck. And I obviously at that time wasn't capable of doing it on my own. So that yeah, that was sort of the series of events.
Okay. Uh, um, so since you tried it yourself, right, at a big like before you reached out, what made you think that like you still had to improve the page? You still needed to have like help because you did use like part of the framework. Um, but you
Yeah.
still felt okay. I still need to get help. Why did you get stuck?
Um, I just knew that it just wasn't explaining it. Like it just wasn't like I think that the traction that we got from the website was pretty bad. Like it just not like the types of leads we were getting and the types of inquiries, and it just wasn't working. I mean, we weren't getting demos. Like the only business we got was through outbound, so it wasn't. Yeah,
Got it.
just wasn't working.
Okay, got it. And so you're getting more of those leads that are probably like more generic leads for those cold outreach tools or something.
Yeah, or just generally bad leads, or very few leads. Like I don't think I think inbound just wasn't really working at all. Like the only business was coming through outbound.
Okay, and what like what kind of results have you seen from this? Obviously, we touched on it a little bit at the beginning, but what kind of results have you seen from this, like from
Yeah.
making these changes?
Well, yeah. I mean, so the I think the last iteration, which was all, so it was like two things combined, right? So I think it was like very closely following your framework combined with niching down. So like those two. So it's not just the framework in isolation, but the two things together. Like I mean, it was like I said. I think I launched at end of December, and by like end of January, we'd seen like a significant bump. I think it was like 30 to 40% in MRR. And then by I think the end of March, I think MRR had tripled by
Yep.
that time. And that was purely organic too. Like I think it was just the organic rankings. People were actually finding us, and the people that were finding us, the page was resonating with their pain points. So yeah, I mean it was pretty amazing. I mean it changed the whole business, right? Got it unstuck, got it generating revenue. So it's pretty cool.
Awesome. So I guess Google also likes when you're focused like on one thing and then it starts ranking you and sending it like more ideal customers.
I don't know. That's not my field. But yeah, something happened, man. Some magic.
Awesome. So did that change how you wrote the content, how you thought about promoting your product or selling it?
Yeah, no, exactly. So that was the biggest change, was how, you know, like the way we would write the content to address the pain points rather than just sort of like talk about features, right? So like talk about the pain point and then talk about how you solve the pain point. It was more powerful.
Okay. And I mean, these things I do when I work with the clients, I do focus on these value propositions and on pushing it out on your website and stuff like that. But usually what happens is it also changes how they think about the product itself in like in other areas, right? So what other areas have you seen changes after you kind of change your mindset about how you were selling like your products and how it compares to other tools?
You mean a mindset shift in like in me and my team, or like in clients
Like
or users?
um like more about like in yourself in the sales process and how you get the leads, right? Because sometimes the way we think about the products, we just start to see like different opportunities or start attracting different kind of people. How did that affect like different areas of the
I
business?
see. I see what you mean. Yeah, I mean, it just it actually helped to just focus the whole business, right? So like rather than like trying to go here and trying to go there and try to like sell to whoever we could kind of thing, it just gave a very clear focus of like who we were and where we're going, right, with this business. So that as well is just powerful, right, in terms of like picking a niche and just servicing just that niche. So it kind of gave us more direction than trying to be like everything to everyone. Is the best. Yeah.
Awesome. And how did that change your, like, let's say your demo conversations or even your free trials?
um, yeah. So the free trial, like I think we changed our whole like onboarding automation flow to suit to better suit an agency and like where they get their like their aha moment. Um, but and in terms of demos as well, like you know we're just talking more to agencies and we're showing them things that they care about rather than talking to
Yeah.
anybody and then going like, yeah, okay, cool, but how's it different than product X, Y, and Z, right? So yeah, so like totally changed the types of conversations and the demos and everything. So,
Yeah, kind of makes it a little easier, to sell. Have you noticed
yeah.
like any expectations that people had when they jumped on a demo, or what kind of things that they wanted to see, or if they already have like an idea in their mind of how you can help them?
Um, yeah, I haven't really noticed like a correlation on that because I think I would take people through like a certain flow that I thought would show them what they're most interested in, or I would ask them what they want to see, right, and focus on that. Like ask them what their pains are, and so from that perspective, like I feel like I'm still controlling the sales call, but um, so yeah, but I mean like the type of leads are different this time around. So it's like they're a qualified agency rather than just like somebody we managed to wrangle in through a webinar or something, right? To get some time. So
Awesome. Yeah, way better than those
yeah,
random leads. Um,
exactly.
so, what was like your ROI on this? Like, how would you quantify like the ROI that you got from making these changes?
So this sounds like super. It sounds like super salesy, but I don't think you could. It's like, yeah, what's that Mastercard? It's priceless or something. So, but I mean, because in reality, if you look at the ROI in terms of actually solving like a repeatable customer acquisition process, like you know, now the business is growing and continues to grow and produces good MRR every month. So I mean that you because it's the I mean in my mind like because the it's monthly recurring revenue that it continues to grow and accelerate, you can't really address an ROI because the money is like it's a perpetuity, right? So
Yeah.
we'll have to I guess we can calculate the ROI if we ever sell the business or something like that. Um, I don't know if that's an answer you want, but the ROI is priceless. Like I mean that sounds super cheesy, but like it's true, right? So
Now I know for sure that you got the sales training.
yeah.
Yeah, awesome. So, oh, what did you like? What made you decide like to work with me and apply the stuff that we worked on?
That's a good question. I mean, I think it was just the insights that you had and the guidance that you had, and um, I just yeah, it was just I mean, I think maybe also that your framework was like clear and easy to follow, so that that just made it like a no-brainer, right? And it also made sense. Like if you look through it, you're like, yeah, okay, this makes sense. This is gonna work. This is gonna make a difference, right? Like it reading through the framework, it explains how everything's gonna work out. So yeah, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's actually, now that you have since you have like the sales training and everything, it's actually very similar to how you sell people on a call, but it just changes
Mhm.
like the medium, right?
Mhm.
So it's probably like it's probably made sense when you started using it because you started like seeing the patterns, then it kind of clicked,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm. For sure.
So what
For
kind
sure.
of like kicked you over the fence with these things?
Well, I think it was just the fact that I needed to get it done. I have limited time and resources to get it done, and so finding finding help to get it done faster and easier and having some guidance, I mean, just makes it, you just have to do it. So um, yeah, I don't know if that's like a very super clear answer, but um, it was just like being stuck, needing to get unstuck, knowing you need help to get unstuck, and going for it because you can't figure everything out on your own. Like as a solo founder, you only have so much time, right? So you have to do it. So,
Awesome. Okay. And would you recommend like others, to work with you?
yeah, of course, for sure. I mean, I think anybody with a SaaS business that needs help, dialing in their marketing message and how they explain their product on their website, like um, definitely needs help, like 100%.
Awesome. Who do you think, like more specifically, could um, like really get amazing results out of this, right? So you mentioned companies that needed to improve their messaging, but what kind of companies do you think like are more likely to need that?
So obviously, I'm a little biased here, and obviously I don't know your kind of target market, but uh, I'd say what works very well, and it was my experience, was solo founder or small team, bootstrapped. You don't have a ton of resources to go and hire like a marketing department and that sort of thing. Like that would be, to me, like a no-brainer. So it's like if you're a solo founder, or you have a small co-founder team, and you're not maybe you're more technical than you are like a marketing type of person. Like in that case, it's a no-brainer. Like
Awesome. I
just
mean,
just to get, so that you can actually get going and start making money rather than be stuck trying to learn marketing on your own. Right, like spinning your wheels.
yeah, I mean, I think you got it like pretty spot on, because I do work with a lot of founders and technical founders. They do like to focus a lot on the product and the problem, but they
Yeah.
kind of forget how to sell it and how to get people to want to buy it, how to kind of not persuade people, but get people excited about the outcome, not really the features and the product that they want to sell, right? So
Mm,
I think that's pretty spot on. So
cool.
why should someone, listening to this interview, uh, you know, take action, right now, either to book a call or maybe become a client or something?
Well, I mean, I'd say, like in terms of booking a call, I mean, like I'd say it will be time well spent, because I know you now, and I know you like to give people a lot of value. So on a call, it's not going to be just, so like Pedro's not just going to try to sell you something. He's going to provide value first. And I mean, and this again sounds super salesy and cheesy, but like you only have so much time. So like why waste trying to figure it out on your own? Just get help to do it. So
Awesome. So let's like we're pretty much at the end of the interview, so it's kind of time to promote you a little bit. So what would be like your number one advice? Let's say your number one advice for SaaS businesses, and then perhaps for your own niche.
sure. Man, number one advice for SaaS businesses. Um, to be honest, I guess, but this is sort of a trend, I guess. But so my number one advice would be to start with a very small niche and start working your way out from that. Then again, I'm not an expert, so but that would be my advice for SaaS businesses. In terms of advice for agencies, like lead generation agencies, um, you want to make sure that your addressable market that you're like trying to generate leads in is aligned with the messaging. It's super important, and then you want to manage your deliverability within that, because deliverability with cold email right now is key. And so you want to use a platform that gives you the right type of controls around managing your deliverability. Otherwise, your campaigns are just going to crater, and then you're not going to be able to help your clients. So use a tool that's built for you.
Awesome. And that's actually good advice for, SaaS companies always doing outreach, because, if they don't get delivered, then it's not going to work.
Exactly.
Awesome. So where can people, find you online? Where can they find your product online also?
Sure. So if you just head to wavo.co, so wavo.co, they can find our webpage, and we've got lots of ways to get in touch with us from there, booking demos or interacting with us right on the live chat. And if you want to look me up and connect, I'm available on LinkedIn. If you search for my name, Anton Ben Ryan, and yeah, I think that's about it.
Awesome. I mean, thanks a lot, Anton. I think this interview was like
No
super
problem.
valuable. Thanks for sharing all the
Awesome.
insights. And yeah, that's really about it.